Episode 79. Evelyn Calls. When they returned home, Dario tightly hugged Jade, who was still in shock. They sat on the sofa, and he gently stroked her hair to comfort her. "No, it's too dirty." Dario brought a basin of hot water to wash her feet. At first, Jade felt very embarrassed, but the more she resisted, the tighter he held her. In the end, she had no choice but to enjoy it. She felt that her feet were too private for this kind of thing, but Dario didn't dislike washing them at all. He even carefully dried them after washing. Then he carefully looked for any wounds and gently rubbed them with lotion. Jade felt that she'd entirely fallen into his hands. She began to feel a little afraid because he was so good to her. What if she really fell in love with him? "Didn't I tell you not to take public transport when you go out?" Dario said as he held her small feet. "It's too expensive to take a taxi," Jade replied in a low voice. Dario looked up and stared at her shy eyes. Then he held her in his arms and kissed her forehead and said, "Are you still afraid?" "With you here, I'm not afraid anymore." Jade hid in his arms and felt more at ease. "In the future, you must always tell me when you're going out." "Right. Why did you come out of the Milliken building today?" Dario didn't answer her question. He changed the topic and said, "Are you going out tomorrow?" "Yes, I'm going to shoot an advertisement tomorrow." "Then stay at home today. I'll send you off tomorrow. Are you sleepy? Do you want to go to bed?" Dario narrowed his eyes. He planned to take her to the bedroom. Originally, there didn't seem to be anything wrong with his words. He just wanted her to go to bed, but she felt that there was a different feeling behind what he said, and she didn't know why. She thought about it and decided to stay on the sofa. "I still have to memorize the lines. Oh yeah, didn't you say something was wrong? I'm home now, you don't have to worry about me. Hurry up and take care of it." "Don't you want me to stay?" Dario stretched out his arms and made a thud as he sat down on the sofa. Jade had the feeling that he was looking at her, which made her extremely shy. He could just barely see her long eyelashes. She didn't want to lie down because she felt too scared at that moment. "Yes, but I don't want to disturb your work." A husband's work is to stay with his wife. Dario saw that she was thinking about something. His eyes were filled with joy. He carried her to the bedroom. "I can walk by myself," Jade said with some embarrassment. It was fine when she was outside, but she was at home and didn't need him to carry her. It made her feel too pretentious. Thinking about being outside, Jade suddenly jumped from his body. She looked very excited. "What's wrong?" Dario asked nervously. When he heard Jade's answer, he didn't know whether to laugh or cry. "I just remembered that I threw my high heels away. I have to go find them. You bought them, and they must have been very expensive." Jade patted her forehead in annoyance. Just then, she actually threw her shoes away a second time to escape Dario. Dario looked at her nervous expression and felt his heart palpitate. "Don't worry about the shoes. I'll buy you another pair. Today, I'll stay here and sit with you." Dario pulled Jade back and forcefully carried her onto the bed. "But no matter how expensive the shoes were, they aren't as important as you." Dario's eyes met her somewhat ashamed look. The atmosphere suddenly became uncertain, and their breathing quickened. Jade moved her delicate lips. She was laying on the bed uneasily. Then she consciously closed her eyes. She seemed to be waiting for something. Her eyelashes trembled slightly. She could feel Dario's aura getting closer and closer to her lips. Just as he was about to kiss her, a bell suddenly rang. Jade opened her eyes and looked at him in a flustered state. She didn't know what she'd been thinking just then. She was actually waiting for him to kiss her. Dario looked at his phone. When he saw Evelyn's number, his eyes immediately darkened. "Wait for me." Dario quickly kissed her lips and left. There was displeasure in his eyes. He felt he'd been disturbed at a critical moment. "Okay." Jade nodded and leaned on the pillow to rest. Dario went to the living room to pick up the phone. As soon as he answered, he coldly said, "What is it?" "You have—" Before Evelyn could finish her sentence, Dario spat out 3 words. "I'm not free." After he finished speaking, he planned to hang up, but Miss Monica's voice came from the other end of the phone. "You aren't at the company today, and you still want to lie to me that you aren't free? Come over. I have something to talk to you about," Miss Monica said discontentedly. Evelyn had thought that with her sister taking action, There would be no problem. She didn't expect that Dario would still say that he wasn't free. When Dario directly hung up the phone, they called again, but the line was busy. Evelyn's expression became unpleasant. She sat motionlessly in her chair. Miss Monica sighed helplessly. She couldn't help but go up and pat her sister on the shoulder. Then she said, "If you like him so much, you should take the initiative. Don't keep asking me to speak for you." Evelyn raised her head. Her eyes were filled with sadness. She smiled bitterly and said in a hoarse voice, "But when you took the initiative, didn't you still not manage to get him to agree?" When Miss Monica heard Evelyn, her face suddenly darkened. She looked at her stubborn sister in disbelief. The feeling in the room instantly became stiff. After a long time, Miss Monica revealed a trace of a cold smile. With resentment, she said, "So, you know, I always knew that we both liked him, but neither of us could get him. Do you know that I love him more than you do? I love him more than anyone else. I've loved him since I was young, and I just want him all to myself." Evelyn couldn't stop the tears flowing down her eyes. Miss Monica was shocked for a moment, but with a sore heart, she still went forward and hugged her sister. There wasn't a trace of expression on her face. "I know, I've already given up on him. He only treats me as his elder sister. We seem to have a good relationship, but only I know of the distance between us." Miss Monica filled her lungs with a breath of cold air. She felt pain in her heart. Miss Monica had worked so hard to become the star that everyone sought after. She'd become the most dazzling person only to attract his attention. But in the end, she discovered that it was all for nothing. "What should I do? Without him, I would have died." Evelyn buried her head in Monica's chest, and she cried for a long time. "Don't worry, I'll definitely help you. You're my sister." The outline of a scheme suddenly came to Monica. She revealed a mischievous smile which was hard to guess.